Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us on this Shop and Payments with Match Fees webinar. My name's Will here from Pitch Hero. I'm the account manager. Some of you will have dealt with me before, others may not have. The way that we're going to work this webinar today is we're going to essentially cover the slides that we've got, move on to a little bit of a demo, then have a stop off to go over some questions that you guys may have asked, so you can put them in the Q&A section if needs be as we're going along. What we'll then do is move on to the next part of this, which will be a demo of the match fees. So the first demo will be Shop and Payments, then we'll move over to match fees, and then we'll have another Q&A session to close it off. So obviously, like I say, any questions you've got, just throw them in the Q&A section and we'll answer them as and when we can. So cricket's finally back. The season prep for you guys will definitely be well underway at this point, whether you've been having your committee meetings to get things going. Your winter nets will probably be fully fledged by now, hopefully getting everybody attended, standards back up to what you want. With the season being less than 8 weeks away, obviously you're going to be wanting to kick things off in terms of collecting your membership. So it's a big time for you guys. So at the moment, Pitch Hero offers the complete club solution. So we've got over 15 years experience serving grassroots sports. That's culminated in 10,000 clubs and over 70,000 teams now using Pitch Hero. We are currently based in Leeds. We've got 20+ staff all working from Leeds, all working to produce a product that will help you guys as volunteers. So our mission is to increase club membership and then in turn club revenue. The addition from that is obviously it hopefully then reduces the club admin and then leaves a lot of time for you guys to train, get better as a club and just grow overall, and also be able to grow your online presence. If you ever want any assistance, you can always book a call. You can either contact the support team, which is support@pitchhero.com, and they can push you in the right direction / get you a call booked, or you can use the link that's shown there, which is join.pitchhero.com/demo, and that will get you a call that you can book in with myself. So, moving payments online. The bits that we're going to cover today are why online payments, why your old methods probably need to change, how Pitch Hero can help with this, getting you guys started, and then obviously, like I mentioned, a nice little demo of the payments and match fee system and a Q&A session as we're going through. So why online payments? The key one and the key driver for most clubs is the increase in club revenue. The increase in club revenue and also the reduced admin for you guys is obviously a massive one. So they're two big ones that will help. We've got payments can be made 24/7. So obviously with it being online, you're not having to contact someone on the committee to then get a payment made. People can just go in and pay it as and when they are able to. And that then means that there's payments coming in as and when you guys can collect them. So from this, you can then automatically record membership data on Pitch Hero, so that obviously helps. You can collect all that data from the members within payments as well on payment forms. Additionally, you can create recurring payments, so you never actually have to repeat a job again. And then the last one we've got there is transparency. Obviously, it just allows you to see who's paid, not paid, things of that nature, run the reports, and it just helps you guys a lot. So here we've got a few benefits of online payments and match fees. So something that we've seen is about 70% of match fees are paid when the prompt is sent out within the first 48 hours of fixture being played. So obviously that's a massive driver. A lot of times you probably find that match fees potentially don't get paid as often because people go, oh, the classic is I'll pay you double next week, and then they come with the tenner and the captain will forget to make a note or something of that nature, and then obviously you lose out on 10 quid there for you guys. So there's 5 key reasons here. Similarly to before, it's increasing revenue. You can see who's paid and not paid. You can track it. Quick and easy requesting of payments. You can track and record every single payment. You can process payments 24/7, and then again, reduce volunteer admin. There's no paper forms, nothing you guys need to store in your homes. Try and find who's filled out this form and where. It's all online for you. So there's a few here. Obviously, the old methods that some clubs have that we've found over the years is that older members won't want to do it. So the perfect one here is we get that. There's things in place to allow you to record manual payments. So obviously, if people still want to pay in cash, they can still pay you in cash. Whilst that gives them that option, it gives you the option to then record it and just bring everyone together on one system. The one is too expensive, so that's obviously relating to the payment provider fees and transaction fees, stuff like that. what we obviously find is that clubs end up actually collecting more in terms of revenue than they would have previous years. So those transaction fees end up paying for themselves. And then the classic one we always hear is we've got Bob here. Bob's got a system in place that works perfectly, whether it's perching up at a bar after a game, just waiting for people to come over and pay their tenors in or tick them off a list. Obviously, yeah, that probably does work great. But then the sort of recalling all those payments, figuring out who's paid and when, it can be a bit of a nightmare if it's just all on paper. And the classic one, or two, should I say, since COVID was a thing, is obviously cash is sort of obviously handled a lot less now, and everything's moving to cashless. So you guys will obviously be wanting to push that forward and then take your match fees and payments online as well, just to make your members' life easier as well as you guys. So the reasons we've got here why cash in hand no longer works from speaking to clubs is obviously team captains are then responsible for a large amount of cash, and not all the captains want to actually have to do that, transporting 100 odd quid round after a game. It's not ideal for everybody. Again, handling the cash best avoided where possible. The other one is, as we mentioned before, members can get away without paying. I know for a fact when I was a captain at my cricket club, it was a case of they go, oh, I'll pay you double next week, or I'll pay you at training on Tuesday, and then you end up forgetting about it, or it just, the payments never get made, and then you're 30, 40 quid down and you don't even realise. So again, that ties into the next one, which is it's difficult to keep track of who owes what. The last one we've had from a club, which we thought was a good one to include, is captains often drink too much. And that one was from a club that mentioned their captains seem to dip into the match fees kitty after a couple of drinks, offering to pay for people's rounds, and then the club never actually see that 30, 40 quid that gets spent on a few pints at the end of a game. So that's that. Getting it started is really easy for you guys. All you need to do is connect your club bank accounts. So that's using GoCardless or Stripe. Obviously for match fees, it's currently just Stripe with the payment providers, but you just connect to them. And then from there, you can start creating your products. You can upload membership forms and payment forms. You can send out payment prompts. And then the last one is you guys sit back and relax, and hope, generally speaking, within about 48 hours of sending out those prompts, the money just comes pouring in and you see everything coming in, and then you can track and see who's paid, not paid from there, and it's brilliant. Lastly, obviously, as it's coming up to the season, we hope you all have a great season, and we'll swiftly move on to our demo now. So the first one we're going to do is we're just going to cover creating a membership product, because obviously you'll have a lot of people on here that have previously used Pitch Hero or are new to using shopping payments on Pitch Hero. So we're just going to go over the creation of a product, refresh a few people's memories, and show the people that haven't yet seen it, show them what it looks like. And then obviously, like I say, from there we'll cover a couple more bits in terms of the assigning of products and then the reporting that you get as admins. And then, like I say, we'll still have a little stop off, couple of questions and answers, and hopefully we'll get that boxed off and covered in as much detail as we possibly can for you guys there. So we'll move into the products here. And then if you've got any products from the previous years, what you'll actually be able to see is you'll be able to see all of them listed in here. And then if you wanted to, the thing to note is you can actually archive products. So if you've got anything from a previous season that you think, okay, that's all paid off, we want to get rid of it from the shop, you can just archive it. And then at a later date, if you actually need to go back and have a look at previous reports on that, you can just hit that filters, click archived, and then they show up again. So nothing's lost, all reporting will still stay there. But like I say, moving on to the actual creation of products, top right, you hit add a new product. And then within here, you've got all the different options. Nice little welcome to Pitch Hero book demo pops up there for you. So you've got membership, tickets, tours, other fundraising, sponsorship, merchandise, teamwear. Things to note recently that we've released is a ticket and tour capacity on products. So I will come back to that in a little bit and cover it. But that's obviously brilliant if you've got a limit, say like a sportsman's dinner, there's a 50 people limit, you can sell tickets up to that limit, and there's sort of a lot less manual work on that now. So like I say, we'll cover that, but currently just looking at the membership. So hit membership, you get a nice little step-by-step video if you want to watch that. Obviously, as you guys have got me going through it, we won't bother with that. So this one is, does your product have a different pricing structure? So obviously it'd be yes in most cases, because you're going to want to have senior, junior, student, social member, etc. on there. So we'll hit yes for this one. And then is there more than one way for a member to pay for your product? So this is a perfect one if you guys want to offer anything like payment plans, so monthly plans or annual plans, just to make it a little bit easier, as we know at the minute. Cost of living crisis, that potentially what you guys can do for your members in terms of just stretching the payments can always help a little bit. And then it also means that you guys have got constant cash coming in over the months as well. So you could potentially look at that as an option if you haven't previously. So we'll hit yes on that one. So what's membership called? What's the product called? And we're going to call it membership demo. Hit next. And what's the first payment called? So we'll give it Senior 23. Next. So this one's just for an individual. And then we're going to say this one's a one-off payment. So our annual fees are going to be 200 quid. So that's all that sorted. Then we're going to add another payment. So what's this one called? And then we're going to do Senior 23 monthly. Hit next. Again, you've got an individual, group or family, so we'll go individual again. And then you've got the option here of one-off payment or installments. I'm going to select installments just this time. And then we're going to say, yeah, it's monthly. How much does it cost? So it's 200 quid again. Hit next. And then if you want to include an additional payment, you can. So obviously that'll knock off a little bit off the actual monthly price if you do so. But that's on you guys to choose. It doesn't come down to the member. So if you choose it, it then asks you what you want to do. So you can put like 30 quid in, then it changes the monthly price. But for this instance, I'm not going to select that. You click down here in this drop down, and then it gives you essentially what it's divisible by. So we'll go 20 quid over 10 months, make it nice and simple, hit next. And then when would you like the first payment to come out? So on a specified date or on the date purchased. So on a specified date is obviously currently it's the 6th of March. So if we said we want these to actually be taken on the 15th of March. So people could actually make the payment, so to speak. They could go through the transaction checkout and then actually complete all that. And then the payment won't then be taken until the 15th. But if someone makes a payment after the 15th, then it's just going to be taken on the 17th, 18th, etc. So that's that one. For this instance, again, just on the date purchased, we've got the options in there. And as I mentioned, you can obviously go through and create more. So if we go junior, individual, so one-off payment again, we'll make that at 150 quid because it's a little bit cheaper for juniors. There you go. There's your options in there. We're going to go through to next. As I mentioned before, you've got your payment provider accounts. So if you guys have set up with GoCardless and Stripe, you'll get this here to give you the option of what you want to choose. GoCardless is direct debit and instant bank pay, and Stripe is credit card, debit card, Apple Pay. So your choice what you want to do with that one. For this instance, we're just going to select Stripe. You can give your product a description if needs be. I'm not going to go into that at this point. Again, you can also add a little image to it to make it look nice. Hit skip on that one. So these are the 3 statuses that you can have with your products. So you can have unavailable to purchase. You can change these at any point, so you're aware. You can have only assigned members can purchase. So that basically just means that you have to then assign the product to the member for them to be able to see it within their shop and purchase it. I'll show you how we do that after this. And then you've got all members can purchase. So essentially that just means it goes on the club shop. It sits there, members can see it, and they can purchase it as and when they want to. So we're going to do all members can purchase on this one. The thing to note on that all members can purchase as well is you can still assign it to people. So the last thing we do before we're going to create this product fully is just mention down here, include this product on the Club Shop daily report. So essentially any webmasters that have got access to the shop and payment section, they'll then be able to get an email sent to them at the end of a day if that product's been purchased, who it's been purchased by, what variant they've purchased, etc. It just gives you a little breakdown to save you constantly having to come into this dashboard and view it. So it's an option, you can tick it or not tick it. Obviously I won't do in this instance, and then we're going to hit create my product. It'll then create it. It'll take you through to where you can then start to assign members to it if you want to, or you can create a payment form. So most of you guys will probably have registration forms created under membership. So obviously within this instance, it's not generally that necessary if in a membership side of things to then create a payment form for it, but a payment form can be particularly helpful for, let's say, like your merchandising. So you can choose, you can give people the option to choose sizing on kit, training kit, things of that nature, shirt number, name, etc. But we're currently going to this assign members here. So you've obviously got 2 sections you can do it in, assign members there and assign members there. We'll just click into this one here. You can then filter it down to roles. So we're going to say, okay, it's only the players that are going to need to purchase this currently. And we're going to go by team and say it's just the senior men's teams that are going to be purchasing this currently. And then from here, you can also filter to only non-assigned members. Obviously that applies if you've previously assigned people to it. It just then helps you get a bit more visibility. So we're going to tick everyone in the top right there. create those 76 assignments. That will then show all members in here as not paid. What you can then do is request payments, and that'll then send out a prompt to those members. Obviously that box then shows up because there's a load of people on here that are just sort of dummy accounts. You guys shouldn't have that issue with yours. You request that, send it out. It then sends them a push notification through the club app, or it then sends them an email as well on the back of it to say they've been requested to pay for this product. They can then go through, select the variant within that product that they deem necessary for their instance. So obviously senior, junior, student, etc. And then from there, you will then see all of these hopefully starting to turn green and saying paid. Now, something to note that I obviously mentioned before is if you've got, say, some older members that still want to pay cash in hand, or just members generally that want to pay cash in hand, you can actually record their payment on here. So if we just use Dan as the example here, say Dan's come up to me in the clubhouse and paid me that 200 quid. We click on those three little dots on the right hand side, and then we go add a manual payment. From there, you'll then be able to choose a product variant. So we're going to say he's paid for the senior 23 one. It was 200 quid and he paid via cash. And then we'll put paid at bar on SAP. And then from there, all we need to do is hit add. And then Dan's then shown as paid. So nice and simple one. In there, let's just get rid of this as it's decided to pop up. Not my lunchtime, unfortunately, right now. So the next thing from there is obviously the reporting you guys can then get. So you can get reporting on a product by product basis, which is showing as this is. Obviously, you can see those reports. What you can then also see is the transaction reports. You can run exports on both of them, and you can do that on a product by product basis. What you can additionally do is if we go into transactions here, you can see transactions for products en masse. So we'll let that pull up. And then obviously you can run filters on it, see all the information that you need to do, obviously paid for and paid by. So obviously paid for would probably be child A, paid by parent A. And then you can export those results, put them in Excel, run any further filters you want to on it. If you've got a payment form on there as well, you'll then be able to see those answers within that export. So that's a little handy one to have as well. As I mentioned before with the assignments, they'll then sit on here. So you'll be able to see the assignments for all products. You can request all the payments quickly through here. You can filter it down to specific products and teams. But what you can't actually do is run the assignment report for all products. What you have to do is do that on a product by product basis. So that's obviously, like we mentioned, you can go into products, select the product, and then you can run a report on that if need be. But like I mentioned, you can request payments again in the top right there, and then send them out for any non-payers that you've currently got. What I will just double back and show you is obviously I mentioned the ticket and tour products that we've recently, the capacity on those that we've recently released. I'll just show you what they look like. So what you can expect from them if you decide to go ahead and use them. So if I click into tickets here, again, step-by-step guide, if you want to do that, you can do. And then do you want to set a capacity limit? So obviously you've got no limit, then you've got per variant and then per product. So we'll go over the two instances initially, but we'll do it per variant. So obviously you can see here, set a limit per product variant. Each variant purchase will have its own capacity limit. So that's obviously a case of if you know you've got a 200 capacity limit and then you've got 4 variants of a product, you can put each at 50 quid sorry, not 50 quid, 50 people. And then as and when people go through, it'll just knock that off on the back end. And then if one's sold out and the other 3 haven't, then obviously that'll just show as sold out. The other 3 are still able to purchase. Whereas per product, it's essentially you can create all your variants and then the capacity is on the product as a whole. So if it's 200, it's just a free for all in terms of people purchase what's there. And then there's 200 capacity. And then once the capacity is reached, the product is out of stock, no longer available to purchase. So if we go in and show you what it looks like, so this is obviously per product. Well, the capacity limit, like I say, 200, hit next. Different pricing structures, we'll go, payment, different ways of payment. So obviously full payment or installments again. We're going to hit no for this one. We're going to just call it Club Q 2023. Next, what's the first payment option called? And we're going to just do senior player. Hit next. It's for an individual. It's a one-off payment. And then we're just going to say it's £5. And then obviously you can add another option in. What's it called? And it's senior family, let's just say, you can choose it for a group, and it's for 4. It's a one-off payment, and it's going to be 30 quid. And then that shows obviously in there. You can create all that, hit next, same process of what we went through before, add a description, add an image, takes you to this section, all members can purchase, and then you can choose it to be in your Club Shop daily report again, and then you just create product. And then once we've created that product, sorry, I'm on the wrong section of the page. What you are then able to see in the top here is obviously 0 out of 200 have been purchased. And then obviously when things are being purchased, you can obviously just see that number start ticking up. So nice and simple to keep track of there as well. Right, obviously as we've created the membership products and just had a quick overview of the capacity that we've got on the new products, the tickets and tours, I'll just give it a minute, see if there's any further questions to come in. I know we've currently got 3 sat in there. I'll just give it a minute for any more to come in, and then we'll just have a quick run through of those questions before we then move on to the match fees. Right, we've currently got 4 questions in. The first one is just from an anonymous attendee, and it says, as you know, players can become unavailable for a game, so would you recommend issuing match fees after or before the game? If before, how easy is it to amend the match fees and swap players? So we're going to come on to that. We're going to come on to the match fees and then obviously assigning them to players. You can have a see of what it looks like, how easy it is. But generally speaking from experience from my cricket club and being the captain myself, we used to do it after the game, so it takes captain like 2 minutes to do it. It's nice and simple. It piggybacks off team selection. So we'll show you the process, but I would generally say for clubs, probably best to just do it after the game. Take the captain no longer than 2 or 3 minutes to actually get it done. Someone's asked, is there a way to edit the payment form once a product has been purchased? We'd ideally like to add another question in the payment form. No, so if the product's been purchased, you can't then actually go in and amend it. So in this instance, I'm afraid there's no way to actually change it unless you were to create a new product and a new payment form. Is it possible to differentiate between products when funds are remitted from Pitchero to bank account? So essentially, when you get the payment from your Go Cardless or Stripe to the payment provider account to your bank account, you'll then see a lump sum, and then you are able to actually then go in and distinguish between what's been purchased within that lump sum. So if you had a lump sum of like £2,000, you'd then actually be able to see what's been purchased within that. So I hope that's helpful, Mike. If there's anything further you want to know on that, obviously just drop another question in. Got one here from Ben saying, for the payment taken, what are the fees charged? So that kind of depends on what package you're on, Ben. So you do have a Pitchero transaction fee and then the payment provider transaction fee. So the Pitchero one, if you're on the elite package, is 1.9%. If you're on the ultimate package, it's 0.9%. So obviously there's a 1% different there. With Go Cardless and Stripe, you've obviously got that in addition to it. So with Go Cardless, it's 1% plus 20p. And then with Stripe, it's 1.4% plus 20p. Got another one here from Adash. So can you cover the different transaction status as we have seen withdrawn, but don't see it in your user guide? So I'm not going to cover all of that in this webinar, Adash, but if you want to drop me an email, I'll give you my email on here. If you want to drop me an email, I can certainly help with that. So Ravi's asked what age groups are the match fees for. Anyone that you want to, Ravi. It's whatever suits your club. So it's available to do with all age groups. But obviously a lot of clubs don't actually charge juniors match fees. So it's just for seniors, but it's available for all age groups if you want it to be. I'm going to cover match fees at a later point. So if we get any further questions on that, I'm just going to hold them off until then. Mike's asked, is it possible to show a daily payment option in product? We're running East training camp for juniors and have a rate per week and daily rate. So not 100% sure what you mean by that, Mike. If you could just clarify, I'm more than happy to answer it. Tanya's asked, can you amend the capacity limit after it has been initially set? Yeah, so if you set it at 200 and then realize you can add another 50 on, then yeah, you can go back in and amend it, Tanya. Martin's asked, how do you know who played in the fourth 11 in mid-August and hasn't paid any match fee? So going to come on to that, Martin. We'll cover that at a later point. Gordon's asked, is there any way sponsors who aren't not members of the club to pay sponsorship on Pitch Hero? So yeah, you can just add the product into your shopping payments, Gordon, and then they can go through and basically purchase it. But they can do it as just like a guest account, which is a supporter. It's done for your guys' sake that you can then capture the information that you need from that member to then contact them if it needs to be at another date. Another anonymous one has asked, if someone is assigned a product, do they have the option to buy but select pay cash? So no, you guys have to mark that manually. It's not on the member to do that. It's on you guys as admins to mark a manual payment. Jason's asked, is there an easy way to do summer school products over multiple days and attendances, all in one easy way to manage product? So on something like that, Jason, if you want to then get in touch with me, again, it's not something we're going to cover in this because it can be potentially a little bit of a niche instance. But if you get in touch with me, we can have a call and discuss that for you to make it easier. Linda's asked, can you only choose GoCardless or Stripe, not both? So yeah, on the product, you can only have one or the other. So obviously, if you wanted to, you can create a product with GoCardless and then clone that product and then create it under Stripe as well. So I'll quickly show you if you want to how that works. So if we just go into products here, obviously, if you've got one created under GoCardless or Stripe and you then want to replicate it and add it in as the other payment provider to offer the members the option. So we just say this membership 23 early bird one was created under GoCardless. And then we hit clone product here. It then just creates a clone with all, obviously, the information previously. So that's obviously with GoCardless. We're going to do that Stripe. It then says clone there. But what we're going to do is just put that as cash. So that everything stays the same. All the variants that you've added in will then also stay the same. So it's all nice and simple. Scroll down to the bottom, and then you just choose all of this. You can clone the existing payment form if you've got one. You can also clone existing assignments and tag members if needs be. So then you just hit create product and then it creates that product. And then you've got obviously the two methods of payment there for your members to make the payment. So hope that clears that one up for you, Linda. Mike said juniors can book either for a whole week of training or just individual days. Yeah, again, Mike. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'll link my email. Then yeah, just get in touch with me and we can cover that on a separate call, as I won't go into sort of niche product creation on this one, but more than happy to help as and where I can with it. So like I say, just drop us an email. Right, we'll just give it another second just to check there's no more questions on the shopping payment side of things before we move on to match fees. And then yeah, we'll get cracking with it. So just spotted one here from Mark, which is a very good question, actually. It says, is there a way of sending payments to two different bank accounts? For instance, a junior's bank account, a senior's bank account? Yeah, so essentially the way you do it, Mark, is you just create the payment provider account with GoCardless or Stripe, and you can just set it up for both the senior's bank account and the junior's bank account. Obviously, if I then just click into payment tools here, got payment providers, just hide that. What you'll then be able to see is obviously this is the GoCardless account. You can actually rename it. So obviously if you have a seniors and juniors one, you can just rename it to the one that's relevant. So obviously a junior one, a senior one, and then from there assign obviously the senior ones to the senior products and the junior ones to the junior products. I apologize if you guys can hear any background noise. We've currently got some works going on the roads outside the office, and typically it's on a day when we've got a webinar. So I apologize if that's picking any of that up. Right, so as I mentioned, we'll move on to match fees now. Doesn't seem that we've got any further questions coming in from the shopping payments just yet. If there is any more at the end, obviously, I'll come back to it, cover the match fee questions, and then if you've got any further shopping payments ones, we can readdress that more than happily. So moving on to match fees, obviously, again, there may be a case that some of you guys have already been using match fees from the previous year and you wanted to know how you set up for the new year, or you guys haven't used it at all and you're looking to set it up for the new year. So we'll cover both instances. I said essentially a returning club to amend their match fees and a new club who are adding in their match fees fresh. So in the first instance, we're going to do someone that's returned and just looking to amend their match fees. So we'll take the senior match fees here. What you guys can do is obviously you'll have a list here. You can click on the senior match fees. You can then obviously amend the teams that are in it. You can edit, add teams, remove teams, nice and simple. What you can then also do is if we go into the actual info of the product here, you can change the prices for the season. So obviously if you guys have decided that it was 10 quid last year, but actually this year, this starter one is going to actually be £12, and then your annual membership is going to drop a little bit, you can then just update that. It'll then change it. And then you can go through and obviously amend them as and where you see fit. It saves you obviously creating a year by year change in match fees. It keeps things nice and simple for you guys, just amending the price on it. With regards to obviously a new club setting up, so we'll go back into products here. Then it's a case of you go into add match fees. So match fees are only currently available to be linked to Stripe. So that's again, credit card, debit card, Apple Pay. So it gives you, it's similar to the shopping payments setup, the process. So we'll just go through, obviously give it a name. So it's going to be senior match fees 2023. Hit next. So it's going to be senior. That's going to be 10 quid. And then we're going to give another option, which is going to be student for £8. Next one, junior for a £5. And then obviously hit next. It'll ask you to add your teams to it. So the ones grayed out have been added already. So currently this men's second team is the one we can select. We're going to select that. Obviously in your new starters case with match fees, they'll all be available. So you go, it's men's first, seconds, thirds, fourth, fifths, ladies first, seconds, thirds, etc. And then we just hit save there. Press next. It then gives you a nice overview as we previously shown on the shopping payments. Finish setup. And then from there, you can obviously then do your assignments, which I'm going to cover. So just going to get my phone set up, share my screen with you guys, and then from there we can cover how it looks and the workflow for you guys, or should I say for your captains on this. So there we go. Nicely set up in here, the manager app. So obviously once you open the manager app up as a captain or an webmaster, whatever that is, it takes you to the match center. So currently it's selected to all. Obviously team admins will only be able to see it for their team, but we'll go into this shopping payments webinar 11. Then so match fees piggyback off team selection. So if you've done your team selection, which I've done here, select my 11, what you'll then be able to do just at the end of a game is obviously addresses what we'd had previously. If we go into match fees here, you'll then be able to add players manually or use that team selection. So obviously if you use that team selection, it's all up to date. You just hit use, it pulls everyone across. And then once you've created those match fee products, you'll actually then have a default. So the default with this one is the starter. But if we then go through and go, okay, Dan is actually a student, so it's going to be 7 quid. And then we've got a driver there. We've got Maisie, who's going to be a student as well. And then down on the bottom here, it's a dead simple way to do it. You just hit send. So obviously you amend the people that show in there. You hit send, it then shows as unpaid. And then obviously within hopefully that 48-hour period we mentioned earlier, you'll have 70% of these go into green, showing as paid, making your guys' lives a little bit easier. So that's the sort of how simple it is to actually send them out. I know we had a question previously about how easy it is it to change, but obviously you can see players in the top right there. So you can actually then go in and add people if you want to. So what you can do is delete someone. So if we go, Dan actually didn't play, so that's a mistake. We're going to delete Dan. That'll then take us back. We can add a player up in here, and then we're going to go, Joe Blogs did actually pay. Press done. And then Joe shows up here as not sent them 12 quid. So we're going to go, Joe is actually a sub, and then resend that. So nice and easy to change, really simple to do. You guys should be all good on that one. Sorry, I've just seen that you guys can't actually see the phone screen. Brilliant. Let's just double check this. Bear with me one sec. There we go. We will quickly improvise on this one. Away team match fees. Date's going to be the 8th. Start time. Done. Right. So again, apologies for that. I didn't realize it had pulled through. So I'll whiz you through it again, and hopefully this time it'll actually show up as we expect. So we go into the the manager app. You then show up as the match center. We'll go into this fixture here, which is shop payments match fees, and again team selection. So we'll just go through and select a few players. So it then shows. So we're going to select these 5 players, go back, and then from there, what you will then do is you can go into match fees, and then if you've done your selection, again, like I say, on a Tuesday or something like that, you can use that team selection, or you can add players manually. So if we then go in and add the team selection, use the team selection, you can then go through and select what they are. So we're going to go, Webber's actually a sub, Joe is actually a student, and then from there you can hit send. But what I showed previously is obviously we had a question about is it easy to amend it. So we're going to go into players here, and then you can remove people from there if needs be before you send it out, and then add people in. But if we send it out and then we go, actually, Joe doesn't actually need to be assigned that. That was a mistake. We just delete it. Give it a second to load up again, and then you go into players in the top right there, and then you can go down, and we're going to add Dan, we're going to add Joe, we're going to add Denise, then we're going to hit done. Those 3 will then sit there. They were all starters. Send. That then gets sent out to them. So that's nice and simple. Dead easy way to do it. Obviously, like I say, it'll take your admins, your team admins, captains a couple of minutes to do it. So yeah, hopefully that makes life a lot easier. You guys can then see the reporting on that. I'll swiftly move back over to the admin dashboard, so you can then see all the reporting that you guys can see, figuring out problem payers, and sending out the prompts again, stuff like that. Right. So back into the admin dashboard, we've got the match fees. So we're going to go into dashboard here under match fees, and then obviously from there we can see all the various reports. So you can get a nice little breakdown of what's been collected over the last 30 days. You can expand that out if you want to. You can see total assignments paid versus not paid. Scroll down and you've got a nice little fixture report. So you can see the percentage paid of the assignments, the outstanding revenue, the revenue that's been collected. So that's fixture by fixture. If you click into that, it then takes you through. Let's just show you that. It takes you through to the fixture, and then you can see a breakdown on the fixture there if needs be. Just close that down. And then the one that we seem that clubs actually seem to love at the minute is the player reports. So what you can actually do if you go into this player reports here is you can see the sort of total assignments that they've had, and what the paid assignments are. So obviously you've got the perfect person here, which is Billy Barr. 1 assignment, 1 paid, up to date, 100%. And then as you scroll down, you've got Danningham there, 40 assignments, 36 paid, 90%. So that's obviously a good payment. But obviously a lot of these are showing 0%, 25%, 27%. And you can just highlight problem payers. And then from there, if we go into Gino here, click on him, you can then see the payments en masse. So what game they're for. You can see a bit more up here. You can actually message Gino within it if you need to. So it's nice and simple. You can obviously go through and request payments via this, so on a fixture by fixture basis if needs be. But if we then go back, what you then can do is if we scroll back up to the top, you can run filters to see, obviously, like I say, paid and not paid. You can do it by team, by percentage. So this can really drill down into your problem payers. So if it's less than we're just going to do 50% and apply that. Obviously, it'll show quite a lot on this because there's a lot of dummy accounts. But yeah, you can obviously see who your problem players are and really drill down into it. So again, if we click onto the assignments here, what you can then see is that's obviously a breakdown of the player reports. What you can then do is obviously go to assignments en masse, and then you can request all payments en masse as well. So obviously all of these will be shown as not paid. We've got 11 pages of it, so that's a lot. Request all payments, hit confirm, send out those 88 payment requests, and that essentially sends another prompt through to the member, which will then send a push notification and then follow up with an email at a later date if it's not paid. And you guys can obviously send them out fairly frequently, keeps on top of things, and then allows you to then obviously run various reports that you need to, see things in the detail that you need, and then obviously then prompt from there. And as I mentioned before with the player ones, you can then message people if needs be. The last thing to obviously mention, which was on the shop and payment section, is again transactions. So all your transactions will be in here. You can then export transactions as well if needs be. So nice and simple. Export the transaction, it then pulls into a CSV file, which you can then put into Excel, Google Sheets, run further filters on if needs be. So just going to take a little break, let any questions come in, and then any questions you guys have got, I will then answer, and hopefully we'll have a full comprehensive overview of match fees, and you guys will be happy for that. Lovely. So we've had a few questions come in. I'll make my way through them, and then obviously any more that come in we can answer as well. So Martin obviously initially asked on the shop and payment section, how do you know who played in the fourth 11 in mid-August and hasn't paid any match fee? Hopefully that's now been covered. If it's not, feel free to just shout again, Martin, and we can cover it over it. Sarah's asked, if a member chooses installment payments, are they able to cancel it after 3 months? Okay, so that's the shop and payments one. Come back to that, Sarah, as we're currently just on the match fees, but we'll address that. Malcolm's asked, can the team selection be done from Play Cricket linked into Pitch Hero, or we have to do it twice? So the way that you do it, Malcolm, is obviously we pull the fixtures and results through from Play Cricket, but nothing more. So if you want to then use the match fees and team selection / availability stuff on Pitch Hero, you then do have to do the team selection in Pitch Hero as well as Play Cricket. Charles has asked, is it possible to collect fees for training sessions as well as matches? So yeah, dead simple. There is a workaround for it. It's using match fees. You essentially just create a team that's training, put your training sessions in, and then you can just use the match fees functionality as we showed you, and just essentially do it for who turned up to training, ping out the prompts that way. If you want to then go over it further, Charles, feel free to drop me an email and we can cover it further if needs be. Linda's asked, how do captains know what status a member is to determine their match fees? So obviously it's a case of you fully expect your members, your captains, to know the people within their team. So obviously it's a case of, like I say, the default, which is probably going to be your senior match fee. And then if someone needs to be dropped to a junior or a student, the captain will know who's in their team, the status of that member, and then choose it accordingly. Lindsay has asked, could you show how to change the match fees to the player has paid cash, please? Oh yeah, of course I can. Previously forgotten how to do it. Sorry, not forgotten, previously didn't show that. bear with me one sec. I'll just get things set up and we can show that again. So back over to my phone screen. Obviously, nice and simple. We're in this match fee section again. We'll click on Dan, and then just a dead simple way to go. Someone's paid cash, confirm. Pops up paid cash, and then if we use Joe Blogs here, you can add a note if needs be. Say something else like will be paid 1503. So hit done. You can do that, and obviously then mark paid cash if needs be. Nice and simple to do that one. So hopefully that covers that question off for you. So the next one we've got is from an anonymous attendee. It is the player report available on the Elite package or just the Ultimate? It's available on the Elite, so it's available on all packages, free, Elite and Ultimate. So yeah, you can get access to that, no worries. Mike has asked, as a captain, can I use the manager app straight after games to request payments and then immediately change the status of anybody that's paid cash? Yep, so obviously just covered that, Mike. If you've got any further questions on it, then just let me know. Tim has asked, I've been setting up match fees, but I couldn't finish without assigning all teams, but our junior matches have no match fees. So you just select the relevant teams, Tim. So I'll quickly go back and cover that. If we just go match fees, products, obviously in this instance, I'm just going to have to remove a couple of teams as all of the teams on this account have been assigned. But for example, I go into the senior one here, hit teams, remove that, and then go add teams. They'll all show up in here. So obviously you can select the ones in the top right there to select all of them, or you can literally just select them team by team, hit save, and then it'll save them that way for you. So we've had an anonymous attendee say, the match fee functionality looks great. Is there any plan to add the same functionality to the training events? So in other words, to be able to automatically add a payment request to all those who are marked as having attended a training activity. So yeah, it's definitely something that we're looking into. There's no timescale on anything like that. In the sort of meantime, you can use the match fees functionality in a way that allows you to take payments in that manner. But yeah, down the line, we are potentially looking into doing that. But as I mentioned, no timescale yet on that. But definitely something we're keen to look at doing. So Tanya's asked, as with products, are you able to export a view of outstanding payments? Seems you can export transactions, but in theory they're good. So you're looking to export for those who haven't paid. So at the current moment, you're not able to export the assignments on match fees, Tanya. Obviously, all the reporting's within Pitchero there for you. It's designed to be something that you can use within the apps and then create prompt payments and stuff like that. So maybe something we look at down the line, but currently, no, that's not available because it's designed obviously to be nice and simple, doing it all through the apps on your captains, etc. To then, on your captains, etc. To then follow that through and make sure all players within their teams have then paid. Again, if you're picking up any background noise, I apologize for that. So hopefully you're able to hear me over the top of it. Chris has asked, what does the payment process involve for the players? Because it's Stripe, Chris, it's literally a card payment or Apple Pay. So obviously if it's a card payment they haven't paid before, put their details in, they can then save that card for a future date. If it's Apple Pay, nice and simple. We are looking to potentially include Google Pay in that as well. So the payment process is nice and simple for the user. Next one we've got in is from Sarah. She has asked, if a member chooses installment payment, sorry, that's a previous one I said come back to. Mike has asked, can a member pay a bulk amount in advance and then see their credit position? So no, you can't essentially pay a bulk amount in advance. It's the assignment then comes to you as and when you've been assigned it and prompted to pay for it. So obviously if they wanted to, they could build up 40 quid and then pay that, but there's no way to pay it in advance. Martin's asked, can you please very slowly explain what is the difference between GoCardless and Stripe? What are the different costs paid by a cricket club for these versions? So GoCardless is direct debit and instant bank pay. Stripe is credit card, debit card, and Apple Pay. So that's the difference between them. The difference in transaction fees is GoCardless is 1% plus 20p. Stripe is 1.4% plus 20p. That's the differences between them, Martin. So we've had one from an attendee saying, not all fixtures on Play Cricket have pulled through to pitch area. Can I do anything to get them over without manually inputting? Yeah, contact the support team. We can get it all over for you. So it's just support@pitchhero.com, and then they can get all that sorted for you. So if they've not pulled through yet, it could just be a case of it's in a backlog on a queue on our end, so we can push that through for you and get it sorted. So that anyone that's experiencing that, just contact support@pitchhero.com. And they can help you with that. So coming back to Sarah's question, obviously it's moving back to shopping payments. It is, if a member chooses installment payments, are they able to cancel it after a few months? If they do, will we get a notification? So on installment payments, you guys can obviously stop that going through in the GoCardless or Stripe dashboard. And then additionally to that, if the member wants to cancel it, they can get in touch with you guys and do so. So it's not something they can do on their end. Obviously, they could potentially block the payment on their bank side of things. That's a different ball game. So obviously that doesn't then involve pitch area side of things. But if they want to cancel it, they can let you guys know, and you can then cancel the assignments and any upcoming payments for that. Lovely. We don't have any further questions in at the minute, but I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes. And if there is any further questions to come in, then feel free to whack them in and we'll cover that for you. So we've had another question just pop in, which is how do you charge for training, say winter nets? The way we suggest doing it is using the match fees. So create a team under the team section, call it indoor nets, winter training, winter nets, whatever you want to call it. From there, you can then create fixtures on the dates of your training. So if it's Tuesday at 7 o'clock, just create them for that lot of, say, that 10 weeks that you may have done it. From there, you can just go in, add the members that attended to the match fees, and then just ping out that £2 or £3, whatever it is that you pay, and then obviously they can then pay from there. You can go through, see all the assignments paid, not paid, stuff like that. Nice and simple for you. If you do want to cover it in more detail, then as always, feel free to drop me an email. It's w.dunkley@pitchhero.com, or contact the support team, again, support@pitchhero.com. Just as we're waiting for any last questions to potentially drip in, obviously the next one, last thing to mention is the next webinar. It's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. We have yet to iron out what we're going to do it on, but it's going to be a similar sort of thing, whether it's setting up a new season, payments type of thing, getting you guys all ready and prepared for a new season. It'll be similar sort of background to that. So we'll be sending out comms again for that. Just keep your eyes peeled for it. Again, coming in probably the next week or so for the webinar to be in a couple of weeks' time.
Right, so we've had no further questions come in, so we'll leave it there. Thanks for everyone for joining us today, and hope you have a lovely rest of Monday. Cheers.